Well, my new friend Mitch picked me up here on the Malahat, where it's often very overcast because we're up at about nearly 1,500 feet. But in the distance, you can see Victoria, where it's beautiful and sunny. Often beautiful and sunny in Victoria because it's got three sides of water. It's on the very tip of the island on Vancouver Island. So from here, we're heading to Sooke, where it's also a little cloudy and see the sun in Victoria in the distance. Anyhow, let's get going on our project. Welcome back to Budget Traveler Chris. We're here at the motorhome in Sooke, and I've got a special guest with me today who is going to help me. His name is Mitch. Thank you, Mitch, for coming to my rescue.
Hey, everybody.
I appreciate it. Mitch, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, been wrenching for too many years. Started when I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And haven't stopped ever since.
Awesome. And you're self-taught, basically, learned under a few good mentors, right?
Exactly. Yeah, lots of help from others that have been around the industry for a lot of years.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you helping me out, Mitch.
Yeah, of course. Right now we're just taking off a little bit of the old grooves, make sure they're flat. So we're going to use a nice, fairly coarse file to get that out and reuse them because there's a lot of pad and it's still like brand new.
Awesome, and I really appreciate your resourcefulness, Mitch. I don't like to waste perfectly good parts either.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everything these days costs a lot of money.
And we're not cheaping out. We're just avoiding wasting perfectly good parts that just had a little groove in them, right?
Exactly.
Because what they did was they obviously threw new brake pads onto a rotor that had a groove in it, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And that's where I met you. You were the one that machined that rotor and got that groove out for me, right?
Yeah.
And how many passes did you have to do?
I had to take off about 4 thou, so it worked out pretty good. Just enough to get the grooves out, make it look like brand new, so we can reuse it.
And here it is right here. And maybe you can show it to us. That's the rotor that he turned for me, and you can see how beautiful that surface is now. And he even painted it nice too, so it looks like brand new now. What a beautiful job Mitch did. And that's, you know, commonly people just go out and buy new rotors these days. Shops will just tell you to throw them away and buy new ones, but we're really trying not to be wasteful and show people how you can resurface them. So here it is, all resurfaced, and as you can see, it's like brand new. And then he's filing the shoes here to get that little groove out of there. So basically you can see that they still have their little taper on the edge here, and this is the wear mark here. So when the shoes wear beyond there and they're below that little notch here, that's the official time to throw them out. So they still basically have half their shoe on there, but what happens is they get too thin and then they get too hot when they're that thin. So that's why you have to replace them while there's still material left on them. But anyhow, we're going to get this ready now. I'm going to work on the RV over here. I'm going to put on the coil. So the coil here is going to be bolted onto the intake manifold right in here. So we're going to put that right in there on that bolt. You can see that rusty little bolt right there. So we'll put that on now while he's working on that. So you got to love it. Nothing like a little teamwork. And our plan is to get this out of here today, which will make Johnny Mack very happy. So that's our goal today. So wish us luck. So as you can see, Mitch did a fantastic job of filing the pads, and they look just like new now. I'd call them 95%. So we have to set up the pop-up tent real quick as it started raining real hard. Well, we've got the cover over it because it's starting to rain now. And we've got the air compressor up there working. Air compressor provides the air for the air tools here. Now Mitch is working on getting all the surfaces cleaned up here. Just cleaning up the surface where the caliper slides. Nice tool for that, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does a beautiful job.
You don't have to have expensive to do the job.
See how nice he's got the metal all cleaned up really nice now. That makes the caliper slide on it much easier. There's probably some never sees after, and that keeps your caliper from sliding. gotta love a light on your head, eh?
Absolutely. Nice thing about using the Rolox is that you only you don't peel off metal, but you peel off the excess rust and just debris that sits over top of what you're working on. So,
Yeah.
the nice thing is you're not, tearing into the metal that you don't want to have. You want to be able to have the OEM thickness of everything versus peeling it off with the sander.
Exactly. Nice job, Mitch. Now Mitch is just filing up the surfaces on the 2-piston caliper we have here, and he's already got the new nicely remachined surfaced rotor on there, and he's just cleaning these surfaces really well, and that's where the caliper slides on the mounting bracket. So we put never sees on that after, and that allows the caliper to move back and forth and never sees in one position, which is your worst enemy, because that's how your brakes fail. Alrighty, well, we're just going to check here to see if we have any power to the we don't have any power here to the blower fan, because we're going to need the blower fan to clean the windows. So I don't see anything there. I can go inside and flip the switch for you, okay?
Sure.
And let's see if that changes anything. So we've got the new coil on here now. That was running with the new coil. And I've got the new, or not the new, well, it's fairly new ECM there grounded to the battery because it's very important. So I'll go inside here and we'll just check this out here and see. We've got the dog house off here. Okay, so I'm gonna give it medium low now, and then low. So that's low. Any power? And we can stop the buzzing by pulling the key out. Any power on the low setting? Do you want to check the fuse panel here?
Yeah, we should start there.
Okay. The fuse panel's right down here. There's the fuse panel here. And all the fuses look good, but you should put a test light on both sides because sometimes your fuse doesn't make good contact. So there's a proper way to do it there, and Mitch will do that. So now Mitch is working on putting together the passenger side, and we're just going to get it to where it works a little better. He's cleaned it like you've seen, and now he's just got to get these shim pins in, and that's how those shim pins go in there. They just tap in, and Mitch has got a really great little plan. He used a strap here attached to the spring to hold it up, and then after that, as you know, you just put that little locking bolt. Is that what you would call it?
That is, yeah.
Lock bolt. You just got to get it in the exact right spot.
Yeah, and if you miss, you tap it back until you can find that again.
And I think these are the easiest brakes to fix. What do you think, Mitch? But you think they're a little trickier to put back together, right?
Yeah, they're very basic. A lot of, once you get into bigger vehicles, they seem to be a little bit of a different engineering behind them, but the old stuff is pretty easy for the most part. I wouldn't overthink any brake job on an older vehicle.
Yeah, but I still want to thank you so much for helping me, because you know what, with your experience and just having an extra man here just gives me the extra confidence to get this done. And John really wants this out of his property today, so absolutely, we're going to make John happy, and that's really important because John made all this happen. And there we go, look at that. She's spinning around. She's not seized now. So you gotta like that, because that wheel was completely seized solid when I started. Now we're gonna bleed this brakes, and we're gonna bleed out any of the old fluid that's still in the line. I just topped up the master with clean fluid, And thank goodness John Mack had a little bit of brake fluid that he brought all the way from Ontario when he moved here in the 90s. So that was like 35 years ago that fluid was. So now I've got the master cylinder, as you can see. The rear one is for the front brakes. They do 60% of the braking, so that's why it's got a bigger reservoir. And the smaller reservoir there is for the rear. So it looks a little cleaner, but the main thing is that there's fluid in there and it's not contaminated. So now we're going to bleed the brakes, and when you bleed the brakes, you always have to start at the wheel furthest away from the master cylinder. So when we did the back, the master cylinder is on the driver's side there. So we did the back passenger side first, then we did the driver's side. So when we do the front, we're going to do the passenger side first and then the driver's side, because that's the furthest one away from the master cylinder. And bleeding works by me pushing down the brakes when Mitch opens up the bleeder valve. And Mitch will show you where the bleeder screw is right now.
Yeah.
The bleeder screw is right there. And usually you need a little heat to these bleeder screws, right?
For the most part, when they're old, yeah.
But you were able to get it off without heat, right?
Exactly. They've been on there for a long time, so we're just going to try to go back and forth. And sometimes it can be...
Because you got to be careful you don't break them. That's
patience is everything when it comes to that.
Yeah. So go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because you really don't want to break them. They're made of really low grade steel. So use heat if you're ever in doubt. Alrighty, so Mitch tried to get this undone, and by the method he was telling you, and that's to shock it tight, shock it loose, shock it tight, shock it loose. Hitting it with vibrations helps, but what always works is heat. And Mitch has got this great little torch. It's called the Torch 300, and what does it run on? Butane?
Just straight butane.
Butane.
Yeah,
so this is a butane torch. It doesn't get too hot because you don't want to get it too hot there. But you can see the area that he's heating. He's heating the metal around the bleeder screw, not the bleeder screw itself, because when you heat metal, what it does is it expands the metal, so that allows it to release, right? And is there anything else you can add about what happens when you heat up metal, Mitch?
That's about it. I mean, too much heat turns things to liquid. We don't want that.
And Ron's phoning me. Hey Ron, how are you?
Hi Chris, you haven't left yet.
Yeah, we're actually heating up the bleeder screw on the motorhome out in Sooke as we speak right now.
Okay, so you're in business.
Well, the rain's coming down pretty heavy here in Sooke now. Likes to rain a lot in Sooke. So it's a good thing we got this nice portable cover here, keeping us nice and dry. And Mitch is going to put on the other front wheel here for us now. And this is really wet, so it's going to be a real fun time pulling this out of here. But with the big four-wheel drive service truck, we're going to use it to pull it out. Well, we just jacked up the RV now. Tires are back on. And we're just pulling out the jack stands. And Mitch has got a really cool jack in there. It's an air bottle jack. That's a really cool jack you got there.
Yeah, it definitely makes life easier than having to pump it by hand.
Yeah, you gotta like it. Fancy jack, gotta like it. And lower it down onto the plywood. Yeehaw. And there she is. She's all lowered down now. And we're ready to drive her to the new shop where Mitch works, where we're gonna do the rear brakes and service the transmission, service the engine, change the oil in the engine, the transmission, and the rear end. So this will be a fully serviced RV for the new owner, because I'm going to be selling this to finance my trip down to Mexico in a month from now. So stay tuned everybody while we get the RV moved over to the shop to get the rear brakes done. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of all the new and exciting videos on budgettravelerchris.com. Well, as you can see, we were able to get a tow in reverse up to the road from the help of Mitch's four-wheel drive tow vehicle. And thank you so much to Johnny Mack, the man, the Island Music Man, who donated this vehicle to Budget Traveler Chris, because you never know where we'll be or who you'll see on budgettravelerchris.com.